Ja, Richards Story-Arc und Charakterentwicklung ist wirklich stark. 400 Kämpfe habe ich noch nicht, das kann ich auch noch nicht und das habe ich alle. Dann gehen wir da. Aha, schön lecker. Komm, den können wir eben schnell platt machen. Keine große Herausforderung. Nein, ich will doch jetzt eigentlich einfach nur hier hoch, so. Mist. Well, once again we're in for some fun times up. Fun times are bad. No telling what it could be, but we'll have to walk through here eventually. Just take a deep breath and step inside, I guess. Wir werden nicht an der Royal-Villa rauskommen, oder? Nope. Aber strange. We walked straight in the opposite direction. How do we end up back here? Looks like there's some kind of condition for advancing to the next area in this case too. Think we might actually need to have Reese with us. Reese? How come her? Did you figure something out? If my other theory is right, and I think it is, this is a fairly safe deduction to make. The fastest way to be sure is to give this a whirl. Let's get Reese and have her come with us. Das hätte ich mir auch früher sagen können, dann hätte ich die direkt holen können. Wie tue ich raus? Ich denke, dann tue ich Analyze doch raus. Analyze raus. Wo ist Reese? Da ist Reese. Ah, ne, die Wache passt. $14,89 hat sie. Das ist definitiv nötig. Zack. Bangle, Crimson Eye, das passt. Was kann eigentlich für Schirmvorschreiben? Was kann das? 20 Agilität, 3 Move und Drop Rate hoch, ja. Nee, du. Finde ich nicht so nice. Habe ich mit 4? Nee. Weil ich kann. Das ist Hit 5. Warte mal. Mit 5, Attack 2, kriegt Attack Dingens, Action 3, Action 5. Haben wir hier noch irgendjemand, der Action braucht? Ach, guck mal hier, du kriegst einen ohne Gem, du kriegst dafür Action 4. P2, HP 4, MP 3. Scheiß auf das Septium Vein. Mute 2 und Defense 4. Einmal heilen. So. So, jetzt aber. Ja. Das Nebel Valley? Nee, was, hä? Where? I knew it. Well, you know, this isn't Erberoy Villa. Oh, you're right. Das ist das Ding, was wir in einem Flashback gesehen haben zwischen den Kapiteln. Wait, isn't that the church's emblem? Kevin. Welcome to Aster House. Place where Reese, Rufina and I grew up together. Oh, okay. Okay, das ist das Ende des Kapitels. Da, okay. The Guardian's Trial. Ende. Kapitel 7. The Distant Flames. Wahrscheinlich anscheinend immer noch das Finalkapitel. Ne? This is only a copy of Aster House, yes? But it looks so... Yeah, I can barely bring myself to accept it's not the real thing. Everything from the feel of the earth underfoot to the smell in the air, just like the real thing. Yeah. This is where the two of you grew up? Judging by the emblem at the entrance, I take it this is a facility operated by the Septium Church? That's right, it's what's called a gospel facility. Think of them as a cross between an orphanage and a monastery. I see. So that means you must be... Well, no reason to dance around it, so yep, I'm an orphan. And how I came to be here is a story best saved for another day. Feels weird being back here, though, again, so it's been about 5 years. 5 very long years. Well, anyway, we're bound to find some kind of clue as to how to get to the 7th plane somewhere in here. You guys up for having a look around the area with me? Yeah, let's go. Okay. Ich habe mit vielen recht, aber nicht, dass wir jetzt hier den ihr, sag mal, Kindheit zu Hause finden. Ich gehe mal zuerst mal hier links rein. What's this room? Wo sieht dann aus? Speisesaal. This is the living room where we used to have all of our meals. Just don't make the mistake of thinking it was a war place like Mercer Orphanage. The matron here was a stubborn old sister who was strict as could be. Every mealtime we had to pray so much that our stomachs had given up on getting fat by the end of it, and we got yelled at for the tiniest thing. Oh, I see. That is in keeping with the kind of image one would expect from church or an orphanage, so I suppose. You deserved it all, in my opinion. You never did as you were told and caused her nothing but grief. Okay, I'll admit that probably accurate, but still. Lernen wir die Person vielleicht auch kennen? Ich würde mal interessieren, wer das ist, ob man die Person vielleicht kennt. As you can probably guess, this right here is the kitchen. This is where the older children of the facility did the cooking. Also, Reese's favorite place to sneak into whenever she had a hankering for some food. Kevin? That brings back memories of my matron Teresa's orphanage. Daniel and Polly used to do that too. Perhaps they still do. That's a sight I can hardly imagine. Please don't take everything you said at face value. Well, anyway, this was always Rufina's turf back when she was still here. She was always out here around mealtime making food for me, Reese, and the other kids. After she left, Reese and I took over her position. That brings back memories. Of course, then you left too, leaving me to handle it all alone. Ugh. The mere thought aggravate me. In fact, I think you should whip up something right now to make up for your selfishness. Yes, ma'am. I'll make you something later. The only thing less reliable than a promise with later attached to the end is one set by you. I'm not going to get my hopes up. Oh man, no fate in me, huh? Haha. Wie viele Rezepte fehlen mir eigentlich noch? Nicht mehr viele. Irgendwo müssen doch auch die Schlafräume sein, oder? Ah. This was the matron's room. No one's here now, though. Yeah. By the way, Reese, how's the matron these days? She's fine. Her injuries weren't lasting. She hasn't had the energy she used to ever since retiring, unfortunately. She really wanted to see you again, Kevin. She did, huh? This here's the kids' bedroom. I slept here back when I was first taken in before graduating to the boys' bedroom. You never really did mix well with the other children. Rufina had such a hard time trying to get you to make friends with them. It was a real ordeal for her, you know? Yeah, I know. I was like a little hedgehog who didn't want to let anyone get near back then. I feel sorry for everyone who had to put up with me. Still amazed you even bothered trying to be friendly. Well, I knew you were only playing tough. Like the time with Rufina and the chocolate. Stop, we're not here, that story here. I wonder what happened. Yeah, good. This is the boys' bedroom where I slept until I was about 10 years old. Technically, the boys and girls weren't supposed to enter one another's bedroom. That never stopped these here from doing it all the time, though. What he neglects to mention is that it was his fault I did so. What else was I supposed to do when he slept in every morning he was on cleaning duty? Well, you could have just knocked on the door until I got up. But then I'd disturb the other boys who were sleeping, which would have been unfair. They weren't beyond shirking their duties. It was 100% your fault. Fine, fine, whatever you say. Ich finde das sehr schön, die ganzen Dialoge zwischen den beiden zu haben. This here's the girls' bedroom. Place where Rufina spent her night. Same for you eventually too, Reese. I even used to sleep with her from time to time. The bed was always cozy and smelled really nice. It was much nicer than sleeping in my own. After she left here, her bed became mine. I bet you were jealous. Haha, you bet. I was half a time, I'll admit. Oh, I thought you'd be a bit more flustered than that. I shouldn't have bothered saying anything. Give me a break. Dann gibt's aber nur noch das Gebäude hier. The door's locked. Figures. Is it locked? Yeah. Well, whatever, we can keep poking around. We used to get our drinking water out of here. We had no fancy old pumps either. We did it all by using a good old-fashioned bucket with string attached. It was a nightmare. Tell me about it. We'd go out on winter mornings and come back with our hands numb and wet raw. But looking back on the whole experience now, it was fun in its own way. I guess it was. Kommt jetzt hier rein? Nö. Ah. Aha, this is the open. This is the side entrance that only opens from the inside. We can get it from the outside. We can't get in from the outside. Yeah, if you want to get to the chapel, we're gonna have to go through the front. Nee, immer noch nicht. Irgendwas übersehen? ich vielleicht wirklich irgendwas übersehen, dass ich irgendwas anklicken konnte? Nö. Hier geht man nicht raus. Weiß nicht, ich kriege irgendwie von diesem Ding hier krasse Promised Neverland Vibes. Ich weiß nicht. Weiß nicht warum. Wo ist denn hier noch irgendwie was? Muss ich wirklich vielleicht raus? Nee, ich schätze mal nicht. Meinst du das ernst? Muss ich wirklich irgendwas kochen? Ich hoffe mal nicht, weil ich habe keine Zutaten. Das, es gibt nicht mehr, was ich anklicken kann. Ich habe alles untersucht. Hä? Bin ich irgendwie blöd oder? Okay, ich musste da rausgehen, okay. There's no sign of anything in here. There. I'll have to help team to view chapel. So it seems. What is it, Kevin? Hey, Reese. You were the one responsible for cleaning the chapel that day, right? What day? On Aster House's final day, when Ophina died. Kevin? Huh? That was what I was told when I went to visit the matron afterwards, at least. Well, were you? Yeah, I was. Why? I thought so. Check your pockets, Reese. I'm pretty sure the chapel's key is in one of them. Huh? We began checking the pockets of her habit. Eventually, she found an old brass key. It can't be. Is that the key? I see now. I suppose it's just another manifestation of this world's ability to make thoughts into reality. Honestly, I wasn't entirely sure you'd find it in there. But in all the other areas on this plane was always a reason to take the person who needed with her. This just goes to show that you really were meant to come here, Reese. But, no, as disbelieving as I am, this is definitely the chapel's key. I suppose all we can do right now is try to go inside. Yeah. Before we go in here, Reese, there's something I should warn you about. Once you step through that door, there'll be no going back. You're going to find out the truth about what happened that day. All of it. And you won't like it. Are you sure you're ready for what you're about to find out? I'm more than ready. All these years I've never quite been able to accept what happened here. The life I thought I knew just suddenly came to an end with It's all getting moved to other places, and I still don't even know why. I even tried to come back here just before beginning my training to become a squire, but it had already been demolished. I've been ready for a long time. I want to know the truth. More than anything, I feel like knowing will let me get closer to Rufina. Okay, let's head on in then. Right. Kevin, would you prefer for the rest of the wait outside for this? No, actually I'd prefer if you came in with me. This is relevant to you guys too, in a sense. It all started 5 years ago. A Jaeger corps someone had hired took this place over out of nowhere. By the way, how much do you remember of that day, please? Just so I know. I just remember a group of men in black forcing their way through the gate and charging in here. They tied everyone up, took the matron up to the second floor, and then... Next thing you knew, you were in a bed in the hospital in town, right? Don't you find out that Rufina and I had come to rescue everyone? But she had died in the process. That about right? Just what happened, Kevin? All I've heard is that it was the work of someone who opposed the church. But I haven't had a chance to meet you since then, much less to ask you about it. I tried asking Instructor Selna, but she wouldn't say a word. That doesn't surprise me. The Godslitter's commander can't admit this orphanage was being used as a smokescreen for an artifact that needed stealing away. It what? Here we go. A secret passage. Wait. If there was an artifact here, you don't mean... Yep. Play low, here is the primal ground used to seal artifacts away. Just like one on the Granville Cathedral. I'm sure you remember. The day it all happened, Rufina and I were due to come back here for the first time in a while. We were both coming from different places we'd been sent, so we wanted to meet up in town and come the rest of the way here together. Then her train was delayed, leaving me in town to wait for her alone. That was when I got word of what happened. All I could think was that you and the other kids were in danger, so I decided to try and take off the Jaegers here alone. They weren't all that experienced, so fighting them wasn't even hard for a squire like me. Before long, I was able to disable them all and free the matron and the other kids. Or so I thought. You are nowhere to be seen. I asked the other kids where you were. They told me one of the Jaegers had taken you somewhere else and that you were conscious. I looked frantically all over, trying to find you before eventually stumbling across this place. As for how? Remember how you didn't have your ribbon in your hair when you woke up, please? I do. What does that have to do with anything? I found a ribbon in front of the secret passage we've just gone through. And there were new footprints near it too. Made it easy to find the entrance. Oh. Anyway, after getting in here, I made my way down this staircase in pursuit of a Jaeger that had taken you. Sorry. Hey, Reese, do you remember what I was like back when we first met? Yeah, I was still young at the time, but it's as fresh as if it were only yesterday. You look like you've been swallowed by blackness, like there wasn't a single thread of hope bound to you. It was scary. I kept wondering what must have happened to you, what you must have seen to make you end up that way. What must have happened to me, huh? Rufina seemed like she knew. Before I met you, I killed my mom. Well, okay, maybe killed is the right expression. Not like I directly did it. I still let her die though. I still got a responsibility for what happened. Growing up, it was basically me and my mom for the most part. My father showed his face from time to time, but not that much. From what I understand, he had another family elsewhere. But even without him, she did her best to look after me on her own. I loved her dearly. Kids in the neighborhood used to make fun of me for how I talked, which I got from her, but I just beat them up most of the time. She was always kind. She loved cooking and, yeah, I thought the world of her. When I was 7, my father, who had all the money in the world, chose to abandon her. At the best of times, she was always a frail person. After that, she grew more and more despondent. Her health suffered. I tried everything a kid could do to cheer her up, but nothing I did worked. And during one winter's day, when she must have finally had enough, she came over while I was sleeping and tried to strangle me. I'm so sorry, Kevin. I failed as your mother. But I'm so tired. I'm so tired. At least this way, the two of us can... I guess she figured that if we were both going to suffer, we might as well take the easy way out as a family. But I wouldn't let her take me with her. If I knew what I was doing, I'd pushed her aside and ran barefoot out into the snow. I wandered around for a while after that. I couldn't understand what had happened or what she'd been trying to do. Eventually, I could feel myself getting hungry. I thought that maybe she'd been able to clear her head. I made my way back home, nervous as could be, and... sorry for making you listen to all this. Still, I think that probably when it happened. But my stigma was carved inside me. What? What a strange place. I had no idea there was a place like this on the Grand Cathedral. This was where I finally caught up to the Jaeger who had you with him. He probably didn't think anyone was gonna come after him. The second he saw me, he panicked, and putting his gun down, he went over to this pedestal right in front of us. On it was the artifact that required sealing away I mentioned earlier. The Spear of Lower. Okay, das erklärt sein S-Craft. What's the Spear of Lower? A malignant spear that transforms the body of its wielder into that of a monster. It's hard to believe something like that could be a gift from a goddess, right? In any case, the cornered Jaeger grabbed it and used it. I didn't stand a chance. Much as I tried, I wasn't any match for the inhuman monster before me. He knocked me to the ground and then went to raise the spear against the still unconscious you. That's all it took. My stigma drew all of the spear's power from it into itself. I blasted it, magnified countless times over into the Jaeger's body. The result wasn't even a battle. Our precious home became a slaughterhouse. By the end, he wasn't even recognizable, just thousands of lumps of flesh strewn all over the floor. After defeating him, my stigma's power was still coursing through my body. I'd never experienced anything like that before. I lost complete control of myself. At this point, Rufina arrived, and she seemed to understand exactly what had happened. Using her bow gun and Templar sword, she was able to separate me from you and prevent me from doing you any harm. And then... Er war es tatsächlich, ne? So habe ich mir schon gedacht, aber ich hatte immer noch die Hoffnung, dass vielleicht irgendjemand die Jugendwahrheit, auch wenn ich mir nicht wusste, wer es hätte sein sollen. When I returned to my senses, I was in her arms, dumbfounded. Her body was full of holes all over, but she hugged me as tightly as she could. That's when she drew her last breath. No. There it is, but who's you wanted? It wasn't that I couldn't save Rufina. I was the one who killed her. With my own hands, right in front of you. But you didn't... I didn't want to? Maybe not, but just an excuse. If I'd been able to control my stigma's power instead of letting it consume me and fill me with bloodlust, it wouldn't have happened. If I wasn't so weak, she'd still be alive today. That's not all either. Looking at her standing before me at that moment, she reminded me of my mother. She reminded me of Mom when she came to strangle me. Suddenly, this feeling of betrayal welled up inside me, and desire for revenge. So I filled her full of spears. I love them both. I want to protect them both. What did I do? I killed them both. Me. Why did I what? Why did you tell me this before? 5 years apart and this is the first time you're telling me this? Sorry, I know I should have done it earlier. But now I have, and I'm ready for the consequences. So, go on. If you want to avenge her, do it. If anything, it'd make me happy if you did. You're so stupid. What are you... You think I want to avenge her? That's not why I'm angry at all. Why have you shouldered a burden that great all this time all on your own? Your family, Kevin. Why didn't you ever talk to me? Why didn't you ever let me hug you? Why didn't you let me do anything to help you? Please. I finally understand. I always thought you were hunting down heretics as some kind of atonement for letting Rufina die. But that's not it at all, is it? Come on, Reese. I finally understand. You don't want to atone for anything. You don't want to get rid of your sense of guilt at all. You... That's right. You want to be punished for what he did. That's Rufina, oder? Oh. Why now of all time? So this is the Lord of Phantasma. Haha, you have my congratulations on making it this far. Beyond here lies the seventh plane, the place of my birth and the foundation of all planes hereafter. Thought so. Judging by how we have to go through here to get there, I was right, wasn't I? Right about what? Allow me to ask you once again. So, Kevin Graham, do you really want to see the face underneath this mask? Damn right I do. Time to take that creepy masking and show us who you really are. Rufina Argent? Ha ha ha, with pleasure. Exactly. Rufina? I've missed you dearly, Reese. As for you, Kevin, I'm impressed you were able to work out my real identity. It wasn't hard, I had a feeling from the start. The answer was right in front of my face the whole time, and your every taunt should have made me that much more sure. The only reason I couldn't be until now was because I didn't want to accept the truth. Quite. You always were a weakling. You can imagine how surprised I was when you were able to defeat my strongest knight. You're talking about the Blade Lord. What connection does he even have with you anyway? I met him through my work, about 6 years ago. We were enemies at the time, but we meant to reach a compromise of sorts. And he felt he owed me a debt for as much. Alright, so I ended up summoning him in order to have him repaid. It's a crafty move, but that's not so out of character for you. Flattery won't get you anywhere with me. So, now that you've made it this far, I assume you understand what I'm trying to do? Yeah, and I'm ready. Take me away. Wait, what are you two talking about? I would have thought you worked the answer to that out already, Reese. Do you recall what I said before? Kevin wants to be punished. I was born here in order to give him the punishment he strives for with his every breath. It was to that end that I recreated Phantasma into its current form and welcomed all of you here. All of this was the result of Kevin's desires. He wanted this to happen. You're lying. Sorry, she isn't. Couldn't tell you why it actually happened, but what she says is true. No. The 7 planes likely somewhere made for the express purpose of punishing me over and over. A fitting hell for someone who let his own mother die and killed Rufina to suffer and rot. Once I'm dropping down there, this will all be over. Impossible. But that's not right. Reese? What do you think you're doing, Reese? That's not a very nice thing to do, you silly sister. Shut up! You're not my sister. My sister would never do something like this. Never. Reese. You promised me, Kevin. You promised me that you'd never do anything that would make Rufina sad. So what do you think you're doing? How can you believe sacrificing yourself for everyone would make her happy? Reese, stop. Who are you to say it wouldn't? I might not be the real Rufina, but I am a very close copy of her. If Kevin wants to be punished, why wouldn't I want to give him his wish? Because that's not how Rufina was at all. She'd never indulge something like that, not in 1,000 years. Think back to when you first met us, Kevin. You'd given up on the world, like you just want to disappear, but did she let you do that? No. She forced chocolate down your throat and dragged you right back into the real world, even when you didn't want to, whether you liked it or not. She... Well, this is a surprise. You've gone a lot more than I was expecting if you were able to talk back to me. Stop talking to me as if you're my sister. You are not, and I won't stand for you defiling her any further. Well, if that's how you want to do things, perhaps I should invite you in Kevin's place. Me? No. The rest of you can stand by and watch. No. What? Please, stop this, Rufina. She's got nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but she has. Consider this another part of your punishment. After all, if she suffers for all eternity in your place, it's going to make your suffering all the more potent, isn't it? Please, go ahead and do your worst. Oh, Reese, drop me wherever you like. I'll live. I'm never going to let Kevin be alone again. I will come back to him. Fighting word, my sweet sister. We shall see whether you can make good on them. Kevin? Hey. Hey, Reese. Ik up. Kevin? Ah. You okay? Feeling any pain? No, I'm okay, I think. But why are you... I fell to that crack alone. So why are you... You big dummy. Me? What were you thinking with all that taunting? Go ahead and do your worst. Drop me wherever you like. I'll live. Just how do you know you'll live? Alright, you don't. But... You're a squire, aren't you? A rookie like you with no experience or proper judgment has no business making calls that put her own safety at risk. If you can't promise to never do it again, then you and I both know you're not cut out to be part of a Gralsetter. Well, that's probably what I should be saying anyway, but it'd be real rich come from me, huh? I'll let you off with that little bob there. Huh? Look around us. This is it. The 7th plane. Wow. Gehenna. Ich hatte also irgendwo doch recht. Jetzt nicht als ganzes Gehenna, sondern die unterste Etage des Gehenna. Gehenna. Yep, just like the Testament brought to life. And I'm the one responsible for bringing it on. Oh, after all, if there's one place that's possible, it's Phantasma. I don't know how Fina came back, but she did, with both memories and personality intact. And now I have the good fortune of being punished like one of the very people I wronged. I really couldn't think of a more fitting punishment for a bastard like me. Everything she said was dead on. More than anything, I wanted to be punished. I figured that by accepting that punishment, all of this would be done and everyone else could go back to their lives. I thought I could be just like her, sacrificing my own life so everyone else could be safe. But that wouldn't make me like her at all, would it? No. She might have given up her life to save ours. But that wasn't because she was happy to throw away her life to protect someone else's. It was because she saw literally no other option. With me unconscious, she didn't even have the choice to retreat. There was no way out of the situation without one of the 3 of us losing our lives. The only reason she chose to do what she did. Yeah, she was never the kind of person who would praise self-sacrifice as some kind of virtue. She'd only ever accept it as an option if all the others had been exhausted and it was truly the only way. Right, but this time that's not the case. You're here, I'm here, all our friends are here. If we put our heads together, I'm sure we could have found another way out of here. One where no one would have to die. You must have realized that, but yet you tried to take the easy way out, didn't you? I hate to say it, but yeah, I did. That's a pretty shameful thing for a Dominion to be doing, huh? See, I've got no right to be criticizing you. I'm even less fit to be a knight than you. So standing around lamenting my own failings isn't gonna get us anywhere. So if you're up for walking, let's get ourselves out of here. Come again? What are you looking so surprised for? You didn't think I was gonna stay here and accept being punished for all eternity, did you? Well, either that or stay here and wait for Athena to show up again. Listen here, Reese. I'm not gonna deny that there's a part of me, a big part, that wants to be punished for what I did. Or that there's a part of me that was overjoyed to see Rufina again, however it came to be. But I'm not alone down here. You're here with me and believe me, that changes everything. As long as you're here, I'm not staying in this hellhole a second longer than I have to. We're getting out of here, you and me, no matter what it takes. Right.